Hi, Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. What was the difference, do you think, in this game and the previous game? Do you think that Miami came out any differently? Did you expect them maybe to be a little more conservative considering they had the advantage? It looked like they came out attacking.
We ever seen Miami conservative? I don't think that's in their DNA. They have some exceptional players, as we've all seen. I fully expected the guys involved in their group to want to force home that advantage, and they started very, very brightly. And with all honesty, we were unable to contain that first 15 minutes, and as we now know, it won them the game. What I would say is that the response from my group in the second half, some of the opportunities that were created, and the energy and passion that they showed in the game probably deserved a goal to maybe ask some more emotional questions of Miami. It wasn't to be. And that third goal, I think, probably settled a lot of nerves on the bench.
Other questions in the room right here in the front? Just wait for the microphone, please. It's coming around. A long way.
Hello, Coach Andrea Yanes, Deportes Total USA. I wanted to ask you, do you think that back five like messed up your tactic plans at the beginning, and that's why in the first 15 minutes you guys were a little bit lost?
Played a back five at our place. It's no different. I think the big difference was here. You have the addition of Alba at left wing back, who, you know, the connection we all know about with Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi himself was very, very sharp in the first 15 minutes. And look, I'm always going to look from our side. The gaps were too big. There were some poor choices. We're missing a very, very big piece through the middle of our back line, sadly, who was injured in the last leg. And that made a big difference. I think there are a lot of guys that lean on Walker. And tonight, the opening exchanges through the middle of our back line look very uncertain. And the world-class stars that Miami have took advantage of it.
Right here in the teal shirt.
Good evening, Coach. Xavier Guerrero, Lemon City Live. What was the focus coming in for your team? What weaknesses were you looking to expose on Miami's team?
Well, look, the plan coming in was to win. We needed to score a goal. If you looked at the group, it was almost identical to the team that played at home. We had some real joy with Jacob Shuffleberg and the frontline guys in, maybe some more fast action, counter-attacking style play, but certainly the athleticism of Jacob Shuffleberg caused all sorts of problems. And on the night, I thought Miami were a tad lucky and fortunate not to have conceded more goals. So there were similar thoughts and feelings. The opening exchanges and an early goal for Miami settle the group down. The game, maybe the focus and the plan is slightly different for them. Then they can manage the game. They have good footballers, great experience, but still managed at the right moments to find those creative opportunities as well. So it was a very similar mindset. I thought there were some good matchups for us. Jacob against Gressel and Avalas on the right-hand side for Miami proved to be a problem for them. We were unable to take advantage of that today. And that certainly in the first, I would think, 15 or 20 minutes shone through, and as the game wore on, it became a little bit more apparent. But early on, I thought Miami did a good job of tightening that area up.
Back row here. Go ahead.
Claudio Villalobos from Nashville Total Sports. Gary, I want to see if I can dig a little bit down in your mind with this question. For the last two games, we saw Nashville playing very well up home. And in none of those cases, you were using Lovitz as a central back, even though he's played there before.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your thing? Yeah, what was your thought process by doing that today? And then you had to switch it back on the second half.
Yeah, honestly, there have been one or two concerns in some of our central defensive play. We've conceded 4 goals in the 2 games leading into this against Galaxy and against Miami, and there were some things that I was uncomfortable with. You know, simply put, I think there are some guys that have been very, very good for us that have dipped in form. So without making too many changes of a side that had gone out and performed very, very well against Miami in the last game, I felt as though, you know, one change, one inversion on that left-hand side might offer the guys the best possible perspective of the game that they played last week. Sadly, it wasn't to be. But I thought all of those guys deserve the opportunity to go and attack this game in the same way that they did just a week ago.
Hey, Savidin, USA Today. Gary, what was your first thought when Messi left the game in the 50th minute? And what were your thoughts on the VAR reviews for the goals that weren't for your team?
Well, firstly, thank goodness. Look, it's such a huge influence on the rest of the group. Yes, they have other very good players, but there is no one that can do what he can do. That there is an infinite amount of trust in his decisions, his techniques, his ability. As soon as he gets on the ball, everyone else goes into gear. And that's a real problem. You know, it's a problem for individuals playing against him. It's a problem for midfield players and defenders because they're now seeing runners that they wouldn't normally see. There isn't anyone else in any, maybe 1 or 2 players that have got that sort of confidence from the rest of their teammates around the league, but not many, and nobody at the level, of course, that this guy can produce. So yes, delighted to see him go off. I honestly thought that their performance dipped, and it gave us a little bit of an incentive. You could see, you know, a bit of energy, a couple of challenges won, you know, chances coming our way, and all of a sudden, as I said earlier on, if we score in that 15-minute spell in the first period of the second half, it could have changed the dynamic of the game. When we don't, we open up an opportunity, and they didn't need many tonight to seal the deal.
Okay, now we'll go to questions online. Ben Wright, you should have a line open.
Yeah, Gary, you kind of touched on some of my questions about the back line and kind of the setup. I'm curious about Jack, and he was on the bench but wasn't involved. And then I know I've asked about Walker a couple of times, but Greg Berhalter mentioned that he had a procedure done. I'm just curious if you have any update on him and kind of the severity of his injury.
I think I've explained about the back line. I've not been totally happy with what's been going on there. We've been earning results, but too many goals, too many situations that for our caliber of defending and the individuals that we have there, just been uncomfortable. So minimal changes, Daniel inside. I've already explained that. As far as Walker's concerned, we were hoping that the collision that he'd had was going to be something that he could overcome without any sort of procedure. It wasn't to be, unfortunately. And he's had what can only be described as, you know, a fairly non-invasive procedure that, you know, may well keep him out for 3 to 4 weeks. But it at this point is nothing serious. And we're all expecting a pretty rapid recovery.
Okay, Jacob, James, go ahead. Okay. Let's try Valer Shabila.
Hey, Gary. after the Leagues Cup last year, the team kind of put everything into the Leagues Cup, and it seems like there was a dip once you continued on. This first stretch of the season has been really, really busy for you and kind of hectic. And the guys seem to have put in a lot of effort. I guess the question is, how do you ensure that the same dip doesn't come back again this season after all this effort that was put in and you didn't advance?
Yeah, look, I think there were a couple of things attached to the Leagues Cup. One was the final that we played against Miami, and emotionally, the first final at Geodis Park, our home ground, against the greatest player on the planet. So many things that emotionally go into that, and getting beat. Simple fact was, we didn't come away with the silverware, and I think the guys put their heart and soul into that competition. And I think that had just as much impact as the competition itself physically. It's a different stage of the season, this. Yes, it's been very challenging. It will continue to be at the weekend. And once we get through Charlotte, we have a clear week. And at this point, it looks like a couple of clear weeks now to prepare and get ourselves back into gear. So I don't expect the same sort of response. There's experience, certainly from where I sit, of rotation. I think we've rotated the group very, very well through these early exchanges to give everyone the opportunity to compete and earn points and work us through this competition. And I think that itself has worked well. So, the weekend is the next challenge. And beyond that, I would hope that the guys see that really our bread and butter is the league now, and we're working towards the playoffs.
Okay, with that, we'll end. Good luck in the MLS
Thank you.
season, and we'll be right back with Tata Martino.